traditional anchor off beer. Whenever we lift the anchor, we get an anchor off beer, and whenever we put the anchor down, we get an anchor on beer. And of course, that's the introduction for all the other beers that come in between. But that's another story.
That's for another time, folks.
That's for another time.
Well, that'll be our story next time. So right now we're tuning out while Uncle Jim enjoys his 30th beer of the morning.
Anchor off beer.
Anchor off beer, certainly.
Anchor off beer.
All right.
And right now we're fishing.
We're fishing.
We have trolling lines out back. On the starboard side, over on this side, we have a 100-pound nylon line, 100 test nylon line, and an 80-pound stainless steel leader on a stainless steel hook that is probably strong enough to lift Bob and me both without really straining very hard. It's a double clawed hook. On the port side, on the other side, we have 300-pound test nylon line out on a 150-pound leader, and it's all clamped with stainless steel fittings with a hook that would probably lift all four of us without any real trouble. The reason for that is that we break off a lot of lures catching fish. Most of the fish we catch are too big and we can't land them. But it gets expensive because we lose lures more than we catch fish. So we use very cheap lures. We use plastic squid on hooks with lead weights, and on this side we've got a simple spoon, a big one, a simple spoon with a single hook in it. Now yesterday when we were sailing across here to get into this bay, Nara Inlet, we had both of these lures out, and something struck the heavy one on the port side. And we don't know what it was, but it broke a clean tension break in that 150-pound test stainless steel leader. And that's very common. We didn't even see the tape. It's snubbed not by a fishing pole, but by a double piece of half-inch bungee cord, which is an elastic band like they use in bungee jumping. But this one on this side has a 2-lap, 2 layers, 2 strands of half-inch bungee cord, and it probably takes close to 200 pounds to stretch it out to maybe a meter, which is the available stretching length that we have in here. And even with that, we break off more lures than we keep. Now, the lure on this side represents one philosophy. The philosophy is that you don't want to use heavy equipment, because if you happen to get one of those lines wrapped around your hand or finger or some part of your body and a big fish takes it, you've got a real problem. You're in serious, serious trouble. You've got to be able to cut it. So this lighter one represents the point of view that hopefully we could break that if we got in trouble with it. The one on this side is a very heavy one, and I normally don't fish with line that heavy because it's dangerous. It's very dangerous, and there are lots of cases where people have gotten something tangled in that line, and a big fish will take it, and they can lose a hand or they can get pulled overboard, and when they get pulled overboard, they're going to drown because there's no way you're going to get it back. So that's sort of the two philosophies we have going here. The scenario that happens with the heavy lines often is that somebody will catch a fish, a nice fish, maybe a 3 or 4 or 5 foot fish, and they'll be pulling it in and everything will be fine, and they get it in a little bit and the shark comes along and thinks that fish looks like it would make good dinner, and the shark will take the whole fish, and now you've got maybe 200-300 pounds of shark out there on the end of that line.
Wow.
While you're in the process of winding it in, the jerk is very hard, and it's at that point when a lot of times the line will fly and get around something and you got a real problem. So I'm the only one that I don't let anyone else handle the line on this side, and I handle it very, very carefully. The line on this side isn't quite as bad, but I'm much more confident if I use 60-pound line, because 60-pound line I can break for sure. I think I can break the 100-pound line, but I'm really not totally sure about that. So these things are dangerous, and the fish we catch are big. We've caught marlin, we've caught sharks, we've caught mahi-mahis. We had a mahi-mahi one time that spanned the whole transom of the boat, and we tried to land it and I wasn't strong enough to lift that thing up into the boat. It was just too much fish. We had to let it go. We catch barracuda a lot, catch a lot of mackerel back in here, trevally, tuna, all kinds of tuna. We catch a lot of fish, and as I say, most of them are too big. Cheers!
Vielen Dank, Herr Hofferbert. Und das ist der Spieler von der Wunschtraum-Jagd hier in der Hook Island an dem Great Barrier Reef. Und jetzt wir gehen zurück nach Dan Rather in New York. Bis später.